So new year always means new beginnings. We find ourselves making promises to ourselves to make changes, be better, live cleaner. But usually by about now, a month into the new year, all those resolutions have been broken. You might have found yourself thinking the same thing about motoring. Maybe I'm going to try something different. Maybe I need to consider all this talk about green. So is the Honda Insight going to be the real deal? Or is it simply going to be another New Year's resolution?
The stretched hatchback profile has become synonymous with hybrids, and the split rear window is similar to that of the CRZ. At the front you get that familiar Honda face, but with detail changes like blue light lenses and hexagonal headlamps to set it apart. It certainly isn't the last word in sporty elegance. Instead, it's a case of function winning over form, or so they say. Curiously, Honda is keeping mum on the Insight's drag coefficient figures, perhaps because they couldn't top the original Insight's phenomenal 0.25.
The Insight isn't anything new really. It's been on the world market for a long time, but obviously new to South Africa, and bears testimony to Honda's commitment, I guess, to start bringing these hybrid technology vehicles to our shores, with us driving the CRZ and now getting behind the wheel of the Insight. We are told though that when it originally came out there were a lot of problems in terms of the interior wasn't up to scratch, the ride was really rough and bumpy and really didn't get a lot of favourable reviews. All of that now has apparently been improved, so our first look at the Insight from an interior point of view, a really comfortable place to be. I really like the seats, the interior, the cloth. It's got that familiar Honda funky space age modern but yet still old school retro type of feel about it. The steering wheel's familiar, the instrumentation is very, very interesting, and for guys who like gadgets and toys, I think you're going to be pretty mesmerized by the Insight, with the little display that changes lights from green to blue depending on the mode you're driving. So in the beginning you're going to try and really stick to green, because obviously then you're driving in your most economical mode. But I'm afraid to say that I think that's going to be very, very short-lived. If you live in Northcliffe, Camps Bay, Fresno, do not buy an Insight, because I doubt you'll get up the hill. I'm serious. I mean, it's not the most powerful car in the world. That little 1.3 petrol engine is what's powering it, assisted by a 10 kilowatt battery that obviously integrates, and the two work together to assist the motor. So in terms of kilowatts, it is pretty pup. Now you don't feel it when you're cruising around town. So what it is a good town cruiser if you're living in a flat city, maybe Vegas. But cruising around here, we've actually really been struggling going up and down hills, and you find that you are never ever in economy mode, and that's when that amazing fuel consumption, is what he's talking about, doesn't seem to happen. So driving as we have been now, we have been sitting on 5.96 litres, which is pretty good, and it's got a small tank, 40 litres, so economy is great. But as soon as you try and drive this car a little bit harder, out the door goes the economy, and in comes the most irritating noise you'll ever hear. A 1.3 with a CVT gearbox trying to get going. You know that aunt we all have, the one that likes to ride the clutch? Well, that's kind of what's going to happen when you find yourself driving the Insight with a little bit of enthusiasm, because that CVT box just keeps pushing, and this is kind of what's going to happen. Have a listen. And that's all the sound that it ever makes. It just whines and whines and whines without you really picking up much speed at all. Not a bad thing, I suppose. You've got the little paddles and you can make that CVT box work just a little bit better. But for me, I think that's the thing that's going to freak people out the most.
The Insight might be slightly smaller than its rival from Toyota, but there's still plenty of room for 3 passengers in the back. And if the 400 litres of luggage space isn't enough, you can increase it to nearly 600 by flipping the seats forward.
Price is really good, I suppose, when comparing it to, for example, the Prius. It's only 260,000 Rand is the Insight. But it does beg the question, why not get yourself into a small to medium diesel, like a Polo diesel? I think you're going to have a lot more fun and you're going to be nearly as economical. And I think therein lies the big problem with all cars that are advertising the hybrid tag, is that it hasn't quite cottoned on just yet. I think this is going to be simply another New Year's resolution. People are all interested in it, but nobody's going to really follow through and take it very seriously. It looks a lot better than the Prius, we'll give it that. But yeah, not convinced. I still want real petrol. Yay!